welcome to this wild Wednesday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming to you live today as we do every single day, 12 to 2 Eastern. We are at the Newsmax downtown outpost today. As always, we're in the Question Tequila Studios. Right down here, light wind today. I would say maybe a 5 wood down to the New York Stock Exchange. Mild day this morning. Down about 25 as we speak, but still well above the 27,000 number that we've been talking about as a good support level for the market. We want to see some good news out of the China trade talks. I think 30,000 is seeable on the horizon, which is good news. Bitcoin, monumental run over the last couple of weeks, up almost 25%, just touched up to 10,000 over the weekend, pulled back a little bit at 9,100. We wanted to stabilize here in the 9,000s for a little while, and that's good for all you crypto maniacs out there. Drew Taylor and the Wild West Crypto Show are covering the Litecoin conference down in Vegas. They're going to be coming to us live, wall-to-wall coverage. Also, Manny Alejandro, our consigliere here on Liquid Lunch, is down there. We'll be checking in with him live as well. Checking back in with us, the man I missed so dearly. He went on a honeymoon. He came back for a few days. Then he went to Italy, made mozzarella, red wine. My co-host, managing editor, Frank Morano, joins us again in studio. Hooray!
Much to the relief of everybody, I didn't actually make the red wine, so those are not my feet that stomped on your grapes. Drink with impunity.
So, Frankie, there's so much to talk about, but I don't want to take up a lot of time in this spot here because we have David Limbaugh, conservative attorney, national best-selling author, and his new book, Guilty by Reason of Insanity, with us. Thank you for joining us for a liquid lunch. You may not have known this, but Frankie's been in Italy for the last 10 years or something.
11 days.
11 days. And this is our reunion right now.
That's right.
We really
We're
haven't
going to play
seen
Reunited a little later on.
And it feels so good. So we were talking before you came on. Thanks for coming down here and spending a little time with us. We were talking about, you know, how the whole climate is just so crazy right now. Yeah. And there's just like a small and smaller degree of people who are talking from the right and saying the things that most people feel like. Yeah. And that's kind of the point you get to in Guilty by Reason of Insanity.
Yes. This book chronicles the madness of the political left, and on every issue, from abortion to socialism to identity politics and constitutionalism and all the rest. So I try to chronicle what the left is doing. And as you say, they're crowding out the conservative message and trying to suppress it in many cases. And the PC culture is making conservatives afraid to say what they even think, or to show up on college campuses, or to tell their professors that they're conservatives. So it's a kind of a frightening time we're living in.
We had Tom Del Picaro on the show last week. He was the former chairman of the California Republican Party, and he wrote a book, The More They Decide, the more we divide. Yeah. And he's talking about how the more government takes over, putting weight on the edges, it's all the people in that middle ground that pay. Yeah. That's really us. Yeah,
right? That's right.
The regular people are the ones that are taking the brunt of more government.
That's right.
We need less government.
Well, the left is against the free market. The left is fully embracing socialism. What made this nation great was its liberty tradition. The American idea is all about liberty that is guaranteed through the constitutional system of limited government, and they're fighting that in every respect.
No question. So an immigrant can come over the border illegally, enter our home and property illegally, so they've already committed a predicate crime, make their way to New York, which is a sanctuary city. They can get free college, free health care. If they get arrested, there's no penalty. They get released, and now they get a driver's license. You talk about in the book how the left is trying to abolish America through immigration, and these are the seedlings of that.
That's right. Well, not just through immigration. They're open borders, and don't fall for these squishes who tell you that they're not open borders. They oppose any kind of law enforcement. They want to abolish ICE. Just insane positions. When I call this insanity, I'm not engaging in hyperbole. I mean insanity. The things that they're advocating, and giving aid and comfort to lawbreakers. What is that about? But they don't respect American sovereignty. They really don't respect nation states, and they have a chip on their shoulder about America's founding. And so That's what we're dealing with, and that's what I try to chronicle in the book.
Mr. Limbaugh, I've been a big fan of your writing for many years, and a huge fan of your brother's radio show. Big inspiration for a lot of what I've come to do professionally, although nobody who's on the radio holds a candle to what your brother does. But I am curious, one of the aspects of your book that I found so interesting was the resurgence of socialism and the popularity of socialism. Tell me, why do you think socialism has made such a comeback, especially among young people?
Because they're being bombarded in the culture, Hollywood, the media, and academia. You've had major textbooks from Howard Zinn, who was an avowed socialist, and made his history book, A People's History of America, all about changing people's minds and converting them to socialism and leftism. The most popular history book in schools today is The American Pageant. It demonizes capitalists, robber barons, and that type of thing. You've got, in the America's universities, 40% of colleges in the U.S., 0 Republicans. The other 60%, just a scant few. And so you have the Democratic Party and the left demonizing conservatives as racist, demonizing capitalism, not understanding that socialism impoverishes and enslaves and reduces the economic pie. All they care about is controlling the distribution of income, because socialism destroys wealth. It can't possibly create wealth. Wealth is created in a free market climate by innovative individuals through the incentives and competition of the market.
Now, years ago, 20, 30, 40 years ago, it would not have been inconceivable to either work your way through a private college yourself with a job that you were doing in addition to school, or after you graduated college, be able to support a wife and maybe a child or two based on the job that you first got out of college. These days, that seems like an impossibility unless you're getting a huge helping hand from somebody. And
free. You want to give the left wants everything free.
But do you know anybody that
free? It's like beefsteak Charles.
So I think a lot of young people come out of college blaming that economic conundrum on capitalism.
Of course.
Why do you think that's a faulty argument?
Well, because capitalism, as I said, increases the economic pie, and the left believes that our rights come from government and therefore can be taken away. Only those rights they give you in your beneficence are you entitled to. We believe, and the American founders believe, that our rights are God-given. They come from God, and therefore they're unalienable. And so, but there is some reasons for optimism. In the same polls that show that the Utes are for socialism, they also show they have no clue what it means. And so one of the purposes of my book...
It's vogue.
It's
now.
vogue.
It's vogue to say socialist.
And
we have a socialist coffee shop right next door.
That's right. And it's virtue signaling. They think that's their badge of compassion, to have the government confiscate wealth from people and give it to other people. You look at charitable giving, which proceeds from the heart. True compassion, statistically, is way more abundant on the conservative side of the political aisle.
When do you think, or if you can even pinpoint it, I can't understand it, but when did the Democratic Party become so anti-Semitic?
You know,
when did that happen exactly?
I think it's been going on for a long time. They've been anti-Israel. They weren't some years ago, but they're increasingly that way now. The Women's March was loaded up in their management with anti-Semites. Now the Democratic Party is anti-Israel, and I know people say that being anti-Zionism, anti-Israel is not the same thing as being anti-Semitic, but I challenge that. Why would you be anti-Israel if you weren't anti-Semitic, when you consider there's no moral parity between what the Palestinians are doing and the other nations surrounding Israel who want to extinguish them? Israel allows Arabs, Muslims to live in its land. They want to destroy the nation-state of Israel. That's no moral equivalence there.
Yeah, I followed your career for a long time. I know you've always been a conservative. Yeah. But have you always felt that the left was insane, or is this a recent development?
Well, I think their ideas have been out there for a long time, but they are now emboldened by Obama's extremism, his desire to fundamentally change America, and he accelerated some of this into warp speed, identity politics and all that. Now they've come out of the closet because they're being emboldened and inflamed by each other. And one Democratic presidential candidate tries to outdo the other in terms of who's more socialist, who's going to glorify abortion all the way through birth and beyond, and then celebrate the killing of people. Shout your abortion. Light up your buildings in celebration of death of innocent babies. So I think they've been radical, but now they're way more radical, and they're unafraid, unapologetic to show it.
I want to ask you this. You hit on an amazing point. Right here in New York, in our legislature, they passed what I deem as a post-birth abortion law.
Yeah.
And when I think about that, I think about, well, wait. There's no debate now. It's
a lie.
post-birth.
Yeah.
And, sorry, my pen went off. This is my top pen. But,
It's your show.
we have people coming over the border illegally. They're getting all the rights in the world. Free everything, free
Yeah.
college, no jail time. They have rights now.
Yeah.
But this newly born person has zero right to live?
Yeah.
It doesn't make, the two don't match in my life. You want everyone to have rights. Then why doesn't this newly born American have any rights but to die?
They've been, exactly. They've for years, they've denied that the unborn was a life, and yet they said they wanted to make abortion safe, legal, or rare. Why would you want to make something rare? If it's just a clump of cells, why not just go crazy with it? But now they admit it's a life, and they're in your face and want to do it anyway.
Yeah, and this guy, what's his name, Northam down there?
Yes.
He basically said, you know, the child is born, the mother decides, and if the mother decides she's not mentally capable, then we'll just leave it there. And basically say, we'll let it starve to death. And then goes out and does blackface, and this guy has there's no shame. It's hide in plain sight, if you ask me.
It's a level of evil we haven't seen since Old Testament times. I mean, well, we've seen it in the Holocaust, but I mean, it's a frightening level of evil. Outright killing babies.
I agree with you. Totally.
I can't. I'm not an extremist to say that. It's objectively true what they're doing.
Do you have to be a conservative to learn from this book or to enjoy this book?
No, but the left will not appreciate it because I don't pull any punches. And I'm not trying to convert liberals. They're not going to. I preach to the choir, but the reason I'm preaching to the choir is I want to help our side. I want to arm them with ammunition. I've got probably 1,100 footnotes in this, and I back up everything I say. I go into depth on the philosophical underpinnings of all their crazy ideas and try to give our side ammo. We need to begin to evangelize conservatism, capitalism, and life, and the things that we believe in, the Founding Fathers believed in, the things that are wholesome. We need to equip our side and embolden them to fight, because the left is relentless. They're never going to quit fighting every day, 24/7. And I just think we need to fight back.
Hope John paid for that book.
We will be doing, as we do every single day live from noon to 2 Eastern here on Liquid Lunch, fighting to have a voice in the debate. And as our side gets squeezed out, we ain't shutting up. David Limbaugh is here talking about his book, Guilty by Reason of Insanity. Please go check it out and stay right there, because the fight continues to make television great again right after this with Karen Ross, founder and CEO of Sharp Decisions. You'll be talking about her program to educate vets. Stay right there. Liquid Lunch back at you right after this.